we are very honored to have you in our platform, and you recently gave a talk in IRID Institute regarding sonic therapeutic intervention for global peace and harmony. So if you could enlighten our viewers about this.
Thank you very much for your intriguing inquiry. Sonic therapeutic intervention actually implies the recitation of transcendental sound vibrations for personal transformation. And this is embodied in the traditional Indian culture, in the ancient Vedic literature, and the modern teachings of the Indian acharyas. And what basically I had researched on was on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And fundamentally, one of those results from that hermeneutic phenomenological research, which I presented at the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology in London on June 28, 2021, one of the results of the research is that sonic therapeutic intervention enables high self-control, and it also enables post-conventional consciousness. Post-conventional consciousness implies that you attain a particular platform or particular consciousness where you know this is bad, and you have that inner strength to resist the temptation to get involved. Now, when you talk about self-control, fundamentally, self-control is the pivot of sanity in society. Because according to these two criminologists who developed the self-control theory or the general theory of crime, Hitchie and Gottfried, in 1980, they developed this general theory of crime, which stipulates that all crimes and antisocial behavior are due to low self-control. Now, think about it. When someone comes to probe you, comes to agitate you, and then you fall prey to the agitation, there's a fight. We find in the global society where one president pokes the other president, one president of a country pokes the other one, and then there's a friction. Or someone comes and makes some allegation, just like, what between Canada and India, within the current situation, somebody comes and makes some allegation, it's poking, I call it poking. And then the other person reacts. Now there are ways to deal with that. We can actually deal with it in give a response that is proactive, which will result to, social harmony and peace. Now, if we don't have that self-control, we become prone to agents of confrontation, agents of war. And so we find that in most cases, the leaders of society, like if I'm in America, look at the case between Russia and Ukraine, it's all due to the very fundamental idea that the leaders lack high self-control. Otherwise, some things could just be amicably settled, and they could live in social peace and harmony. And therefore, we find that based on the general theory of crime, society can be happy when people are not trained to develop their self-control, when they are not trained to be, when they don't engage in activities that will help to promote high self-control. And sonic therapeutic intervention helps in a very grand way to promote self-control. And therefore, this is the pivot of international peace. And besides that, the understanding is that sonic therapeutic intervention enables serenity of purpose, inner peace. Now, if you want peace in the world, first you have to have peace. Just like people want to become big-time managers of multinational corporations, but they can't manage themselves. There's no self-management, and they want to manage. They want to manage the whole world. Someone wants to lead the whole world. They want to be the leader of the whole world, and they are deficient in self-leadership. So these are the counterproductions in leadership society. We just want to pursue some fame, distinction, and adoration without really having the required appropriate technology and skills. And so sudden therapeutic intervention helps in creating sadhus, holy people. What is the symptom of a holy person? He's peaceful. Even you agitate him, you poke him. No, he is calm. And so this mantra has helped to transform so many people even from a hippie type of lifestyle, from sexomaniacalism, and from all types of vices into a status where they become Goswamis and are leading the whole world. And so evidently, this chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, of course, the main purpose is to attain pure love for God, pure love for Krishna. But these are some of the side effects that it helps also have high self-control, which is a foundation for global peace.
Sir, you often talked about mind management for successful business success. You can share with our viewers after.
Okay. Mind management. Yeah, this is also a phenomenon that is lacking in society. We tend to, I remember vividly, when we were kids, there was this celebrity, Jimmy Cliff. He debuted an album. And that album, one of the tracks was titled, If I Follow My Mind. So, he was advocating that, there is no need for you to, manage your mind. You just follow the flow of the dictates of your mind. And when we follow the dictates of our mind and our sensory modalities, we are bound to become victims of circumstances. In other words, we'll be criminals. And therefore, mind management implies systematic strategies that we implement to be able to help us to transcend the negative impulses of the mind and the senses, and thereby create a viable future for ourselves, for our communities, and for society in general. So again, the sudden therapeutic intervention is a very highly proved strategy for mind management. We find that one of the basic symptoms of someone who is able to manage his mind is that he does not subscribe to the dictates of the mind and the senses. And we find in the Indian traditional culture, we have the Goswamis. For instance, in Vrindavan, we had the 6 Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami. And, there's no question of being overwhelmed by the dictates of the mind and the senses. The problem we have in society, we are teaching people so many technologies, so many engineering courses, but there is no institution. There is no institution in the whole global society that is teaching students. There are no courses in our universities, in our high institutes of learning, that is teaching students on how to manage the mind. There are all of these adverts all over the place, and they are geared towards you being enslaved to the dictates of your mind and senses. Just like Jimmy Cliff says, if I follow my mind, I will never go wrong. We are slaves to our mind. And mind management entails strategies that will help us to become serene and purposeful in our life, to be able to help us to target our goals within a metacognitive time frame and achieve those objectives. So it is a very powerful tool in creating a viable future for society.
So in recent times, we are seeing a lot of business houses. They are incorporating spiritual values and ethics into the business. How do you look at this whole aspect?
Spirituality in the workplace has been researched by many management scientists. And if you Google the web, the role of spirituality in workplace performance or productivity, you find so many peer-reviewed publications on this very theme. And so that is a way forward to be able to, infiltrate the arena of work with spirituality, which brings about revamping of our consciousness, revamping of our damping consciousness. Because we spend most of the time at work. In America, people spend, work 2 jobs, 3 jobs in some cases. So most of the time of our lives, we spend the time working. And in those situations, we need to be able to integrate some spiritual culture that will enhance our values. Otherwise, the workplace becomes a depot for sexual harassment, fraudulent activities, and social misdemeanors. So yeah, spirituality in the workplace is a synchronon. In other words, is an imperative factor for the positive revolution of society to be able to create a sustainable future.
Sir, a lot of youngsters these days, they seem very disoriented. So according to you, how important is spirituality, or is spirituality the only solution?
Yeah, spirituality is the only solution. See, I got involved in the Hare Krishna movement when I was a young guy. I was working, and then I saw the devotees. I got some books. See, I was born in Africa, so I was not born in India. But I got in touch with ISKCON devotees, bought some books, and then those books, they just, gave me answers to all of the intricate questions I've been asking all along as I was growing up as a young boy. And the modern day youths, especially practically all over the world, they're imitating the West. And even in countries where they have a very rich spiritual culture, people tend to think that, that is, spirituality is meant for, their forefathers, they did this and they had no progress. But I can give you an example. That as a young person, you may be a great achiever. Say you become even the director of International Monetary Fund. And I can give you a striking example. The former director for International Monetary Fund, Strauss-Kahn, he's from France. He lost his job because of spiritual bankruptcy. He lost his job, that high-profile position. He lost it. He went to America. He became attracted to a maid in the hotel. He has a beautiful wife in France. Again, that calls for a rethinking of our cultural orientation and our spiritual revamping. Because we may attain, as a young man, you may be trained or you have skills. You go to school, go get a PhD or even 2 or 3 PhDs, and you don't have values, you are doomed. So the case in point is that of Strauss-Kahn. Look at even the case of the past president of the United States, Donald Trump. He is facing 91 criminal charges. 91. Have you heard of that on this planet? And he's a billionaire. And if we find, see, according to the general theory of crime, all crimes and antisocial behavior are due to lack of self-control or low self-control. Now, a life devoid of spiritual cultivation, a life devoid of sadhana, bhakti, spares for a disastrous future. And we find this gentleman, Donald Trump, he was found liable for sexual assault. He was fined $5 million. Of course, he said he was going on appeal for that case. But just to have your name stained, it's just disgusting. And so what we need in modern society, especially for our youth, the call to action for the youths, especially the youths of India, is to revive their spirituality. The spirituality is the bedrock culture of the Indian society. We need that more than anything else so that we can import that to other countries, and that can help to transform the world in a positive way.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
what happened? You entered this site. What happened? What is when you decided, no, this world is not for me. I am another.
That's a nice question. See what happens. When I was a kid, I was asking questions. And parents teachers, family members, friends, they were not able to answer my questions. One of the questions I was asking was, hey, Papa, there is God. Is God partial? He said, what are you talking? How can God be partial? I said, I see people born deaf, blind, and someone else is born with silver spoon in their mouth, born as a child to a very rich man, to the king. Why? You know what? You know the usual answer I get? You know the usual answer I get from intriguing questions? Parents, family members, teachers, they told me, hey boy, you're just a small boy. You're asking too many big questions. So I left people by themselves. I left them alone. So as I was growing up, when I was 20, I got some instruction from a family member. Hey, you bug us with your questions. You're a matured guy now. Go into the world and find out answers to your question. Family member told me this. So it's like it was a license to figure out for myself. In America, they say, you go figure it out yourself. It's a life of rugged individualism. Nobody helps you. You have to go figure out the answer to yourself. So I explored, and that's how I encountered ISKCON devotees, bought Prabhupada's books, read, and it was so striking, just direct, answering all my questions. So I thought, I can't keep this knowledge just to myself. There are other people there who were suffering like me. I need to be a part of this system to help to spread this knowledge. That's in 3 months, and many devotees read the books. In 3 months, I left my job and became a full-time brahmachari. So it was motivated by inquiry. I was suffocating, questions unanswered. And so when I became 20, I got to move out, go figure out the answers to myself. And I found the answers to my questions in the Indian traditional Vedic literature.
Now you got the answer?
Yeah. Yeah. I got the answers to all of my inquiries from childhood. That's why I gave my life to the system. I'm trying to help to develop people, try to help to spread this knowledge. Otherwise, what is it? Look, I have a PhD. I could also go about looking for money like every other person else. I have a PhD with over 35 publications in peer-reviewed journals. That is a very high-profile accomplishment. But, that is just for myself. I thought, I need to help in redirecting a means-directed civilization. So I became involved in this Krishna consciousness.
So, the last question, what is the secret to happy life?
Huh?
What is the secret of the
Happy life.
Happy life.
What is the secret of happy life? I am happy. The secret of happy life is tap it into yourself and revamping your pristine nature as Sat Chit Ananda. We are by nature blissful. That has been covered over by ignorance. So I've been exploring, tapping into that original pristine identity, that original nature, and it's unfolding. That enhances the happiness that I see in my life. So the secret of happiness is to reconnect with the ocean of happiness, and that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna.
Thank you for this wonderful interview.
Thank you for thanking me.